Hey, it's Shabes, and welcome to another edition of Anitube Digest, where we go over the best and not so best anime YouTube videos that came out this week, in this case from November 8th to November 15th, yesterday. And it's not like night out, but I decided to make a midnight special for once. First, I want to make a quick shout out. They made a podcast this week. But Nyard, some good content, and I wanted to shout them out because I got plugged to them twice. Like, two people went up to us like, "Hey, this is some good shit," and I was like, "Oh." Unfortunately, I'm trying to avoid podcasting like things an hour and over because I have a lot of stuff to get through, and I'm trying to get through all of it as much as I can, and I don't have that much time. I didn't get a chance to get to their stuff this week, but with at least two people, like, one's a coincidence. Two is like, oh, okay, you know? So I was like, yeah. But they put out this video called Watch Some Old Anime, and I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, man. Yeah, I feel you. So, I feel good about their stuff. So I'm just plugging their channel. Cool stuff. Alright, now for the video I thought was not good. Oh, I'll get you this time. I'll get you this time, Kenny Lauderdale. Ah, God. Mistakes were made. The worst anime ever made. Why do we keep running into this? I feel like this is the 5th time we've had, like, bad anime. And you know what? I think it's great because it shows how colorful and various this ineptitude can get. He's going unscripted for this one, just kind of ranting and raving how bad this anime is. So I really think Kenny can make good shit. And it frustrates me that he decides to make something like this instead, knowing that it's going to get traction anyway. Because, yeah, YouTube, it's really all about the thumbnail and title. You can say mistakes were made in the random OVA, and people will love to see you shit on it. It really doesn't matter. You don't have to have any respect for this thing whatsoever. You don't have to show unique clips for the OVA. You can just show the same 10 or 15 clips 3 or 4 times in your video. I really felt like I was seeing some of these shots a couple times. And it's like, is it really that short of an OVA? I doubt it. 60-minute video. I would imagine this is like a 20-something minute OVA. I wanted to watch this OVA before recording this just to like get a better perspective. But then I was like, no, I'm going to go at it as someone who is going to assume the worst, you know, and I'm sure this OVA is terrible. From what he was showing, yeah, there's no in-betweens. They just didn't have an in-betweener. That's all. That's pretty much it. Like, and so it looks really funny and bad in that way. He doesn't mention this term in-betweener. He's just animation bad. It's so inept, and he just throws a bunch of these hyperbolic worst anime ever made kind of things at it. When it's like, yeah, okay, they didn't have an in-betweener, and it looks laughably incompetent. Sure. What else is there? What else you got for me, Kenny? And it really is emblematic of his criticisms here when he says, music is great. I liked the music, but it's overshadowed by the bad animation. What does music have to do with bad animation, Kenny? They're completely different things. You can say the show has great music, but you don't have to then make it like a backwards compliment where it's like, but the animation's still bad. That doesn't have to do anything with what your compliment. Give it a fucking compliment. If you have something nice to say it. You don't have to caveat it. You don't have to really assert your case that this show's bad. Like, come on, dude. He says, in a medium that is constantly trying to not animate things. Towards the beginning. And that already takes me out of it as like, oh, you really don't give a shit, do you? Oh, you don't care. You think fucking Dazaki looks like shit, right? Because he doesn't move his characters all that much? Really? Like, it's so much more. Anime is so much more than that. And this narrow perspective that it has to move. There's so much more artistry that goes into it than just the thing moves. If the thing just moved, there's other shows that you can watch that are fucking perfect at that. But they have terrible story, they have terrible music, they have terrible voice acting, they have terrible everything else. But at least it moves! And he just goes nitpicking this thing too, and it's just, this is not what I want out of someone talking about an anime. Just, he makes fun of the fact that they can't spell things properly. Like, they have Robbie as one of the signs when obviously it's because they're Japanese, they don't have L's, they just have lobby. He doesn't make that point. Like, it's supposed to say lobby. He's like, they can't spell! They can't spell a foreign language. Wow. I'm so shocked. You're gonna notice people with dots for eyes. What is this, 2017? With this fucking thing with Digi shitting on Sort of a Stranger for having bad background characters. It's like, dude, come on. Have some fundamental, like talk about like what may have happened here. And he goes into like these behind the scenes videos. Like, he does his research and he's very truthful. It's like, I couldn't find anything. And it's like, fine. Why make the video then? There really isn't much to say. It's like, oh, but I gotta get this video out. I gotta talk about the show for some reason. I'm just gonna go unscripted and just rant about the show. Look, this series I'm doing right now is unscripted. So I'm not gonna try to badmouth all the unscripted content. But you gotta make some fucking calls and kill some of your babies sometimes. It just doesn't make for good entertainment, in my opinion. Like, if you're gonna go hard, go fucking hard. Be fucking angry, right? But it's not that rage-inducing. It's not like fun to watch. It really is just like you like, oh, this anime's bad, and it's just, I don't like it. Don't you love when anime YouTubers just go, I'd like to tell you the plot, but there really isn't any. Shut up. Shut up! He makes fun of the title? Who the fuck... He just like, Twinkle Nor Rock Me. Does that sound like too many words for a title? Oh, you sweet summer child. And this is what's really, like, it's stuff like this. It's like, this, you should probably have killed this. You shouldn't have said, I am a worse person for having seen this. How does that make any sense, dude? It's such a cringy line. He's not, but the thing is, right? He doesn't come off as saying this hyperbolically. If this was Jackass Boy saying this, the way Jackass Boy and Man Mode and these other guys say these things, I can tell they're joking. I can tell it's supposed to be funny. But, like, he really sounds sincere here. And he's like, I am a worse person. And you're not selling it, dude. So if you're not good at that thing, like I am, I'm also not good at being, like... I'm very true to what I'm thinking, in my opinion. It's hard for me to be sarcastic. So I don't do that. And I don't think you should either. It's like, even if this was made by Studio Ghibli, I couldn't call it a good anime. And that's saying something. What does that mean? What does that mean? Like, if Studio Ghibli made this, first of all, it wouldn't look like this. It would have at least fucking in-betweeners. And second, if this was just Studio Ghibli attached to this, what would that have to do with anything? It's still bad. It would still be, like, just because Studio Ghibli's attached to it, it's like, no, I must be wrong. There's something good. I have to look again. Because Studio Ghibli made this. Do you know how much shit Studio Madhouse has made? But their name's still on it? And it's like, yeah, this is Studio Madhouse. He just comes off as someone who really doesn't know what he's talking about. And look, I think it's great that everyone gets to express themselves at any level they're at. But you gotta be pretty obvious what level you're actually at. And have come from a place of, like, your authority, your level of, like, what I can speak to. Like, Shop is going to talk about music because he knows music. But is he going to talk about this other stuff so much that he doesn't know too much about? Maybe not. Maybe he will. Maybe he'll try. And we'll see how good or not good that is. But you really need to be speaking from experience, or whatever experience that is. It doesn't have to be the highest whatever. And if you're not at that level and you want to be, get to that level. That's all it takes. But, like, again, I know that Kenny can make good stuff because his research is on, like, Stevens' level of, like, oh, he's digging deep. Like, he knows the places to look. He knows the information to show you. Like, some of his stuff is actually really interesting. And I don't totally hate his content. But, like, it really is clear that he's just kind of pandering to his audience, which kind of just likes seeing him shit on old shit. And, you know, I guess I'm not that audience. And now for the videos that I thought were decent. Just okay. Pretty cool. TheSnerg. First time I've talked about their content. Big X Manga Black and White Retrospectives. They found this channel and plugged me their stuff and gave them a really nice comment. They had a really good video a couple weeks ago. And then they're back for this, for about Big X. Talking about the manga in particular. They don't go too deep into, like, the anime or anything. Not that you could, because the Big X anime has, like, 3 existing episodes and the rest of them are literally lost to time. I really like what he talks about here. With the way he's showing the manga panels, and he's literally flipping through them. He's not like a static. He's not taking static images that he downloaded and just kind of showing them or anything like that. It's a very tactical, hands-on sort of thing that I don't see too many people doing anymore. And he does the smart thing and it leaves the footage as black and white so that the whole thing is saturated, so you just focus on like the black and white pages. And that was such a smart idea. He has really pointed clip selection and picture selection, like showing you really interesting images that, like, you know, like not like a simple Google search will probably make you, you know, and that sort of thing is something I can appreciate as someone making videos and stuff. It's like, yeah, like you're showing the actual, like, really solid material. I was a little disappointed he didn't go too much into the manga itself in terms of story or characters or anything like that. It's really more about its place in history. Like a third of the video is talking about Tezuka himself and his life as an author, and it's like one of the things he talked about was Big X and what it kind of led to, and I really liked the origin in terms of like the source material he's going from is like his experience in World War II and people like experimenting on and trying to make these big people, and he's kind of tapping into that real world parallel and making a fictional creation out of it. But yeah, I thought this was pretty chill, and I feel like this is pretty emblematic of his content. Although I did very much like the other video he put out a couple weeks ago. I thought it had much more information and, you know, something I completely never heard of before. Whereas this is like, you know, it's a Tezuka manga, so you only get so much new information, I suppose. But you know, this guy's is talking about stuff that not a lot of people else are, but in a respectful, like, this is cool or like interesting, and treating the material with dignity. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. Guys, it actually happened. Explanation Point made a decent video. I'm not kidding you. Old Maidens in Your Savage Season, a 1-frame analysis. He did take 1 frame from the first episode, and this is a frame I saw, you know, because it was being shared all over the place. Well, not like that one. It's from that scene of the guy jacking off and the girl walking in on him. But it's one scene in the context of that. And some of it he siphons from other episodes and stuff like that. And he says that he could do this for the whole series. He just loves it. But he takes this 1 frame and points out a lot of different symbols in it and is like, this is stuff that is all over O Maidens, and symbols that represent the whole show. I will say a lot of it comes off as stretching a little bit, as like the guy's ladder to his bed is like the way it's angled is emblematic of like the main girl's journey to discover sex. So there's some things about it that it feels like that he's projecting and kind of blowing up more than it probably is. Or at the very least, these symbols may be in this show, but they weren't obvious to a casual viewer to be able to appreciate them, which is why it's great that he's making this video, because he's showing that off and saying that, like, this is what O Maidens is doing, and this is why it's really cool. And in a way that's unique, too, because, you know, not many people are doing a quarter of a 1-frame sort of deal. His editing actually helped in this way. Because it's centered on 1 frame for a lot of it, he's just able to have that 1 frame, which he didn't capture well, by the way. Like, you can see, like, the Crunchyroll, like, or whatever streaming service he was using, like, on the like, the yellow bar, like, almost faded out, and he screen capped it, and it's like, ooh, like, it's not even a good screen cap. But his editing allowed him to have himself point around the room and show different things and circle different things and lay things on top, and not in a overly comedic, chaotic way, in a way that actually was helping to better illustrate what he's talking about. So the visuals are in service of the video. It's not just an audio that you can put in the background, which I feel like a lot of his videos end up being better for, because it's not a visual bombardment to your eyes. His audio is still not great, although at the end of the video he says that audio was by Baron J, and at first I was like, no fucking way. I was watching this at a friend's house and I was like, no fucking way is it by Baron J, because Baron J is literally the best he's a literal audio engineer than any of us, so it's like, no way. And then one of my friends was like, sometimes that's all you can do. And I'm like, oh, you might be right. In terms of, like, he sends him the raw audio that he had, and Baron J's like, I'll do my best. I'm so sorry, man. Yeah, he really needs to get better audio. And I don't know why he hasn't gotten it already. It's been a month since the last video he made. And he's getting plenty of Patreon money, I'd imagine. Or maybe his apartment that he got, whatever, is really that expensive. Because he needs to get a better mic. But yeah, I'm so happy he actually talked about a show that he really liked. I'm happy that the visuals were adding to the experience. And his run-on sentence like format and like it wasn't too bad this time. Like it was making enough points and was, you know, I don't know, it just felt better. I didn't check out his Hero Academia video that was uploaded on Jeff's channel because it didn't have his editing to it. So part of me was like, it's just an explanation point video without the... As much as I hate his visual style, right? And I feel like it would be better within this other format, it didn't have any character to it then. You know what I mean? It didn't feel like a video from him. It felt like a script and an audio and then make the video whatever. You know what I mean? It didn't feel like it's from him, right? No offense to editors. I'm with you there. You know what I mean? You know? But like from what I could see, the couple minutes I watched, I was like, there's not much to this in terms of edit. There's not much like distinct character or anything like that. And also I didn't care too much about Hero Academia. Sorry. I checked out the first episode of Gochi Gang from the channel, the big popular channel First We Feast, which is not like an anime YouTube channel or anything like that. But the host is Raina Scully, and Raina is a prominent feature member of our community. She actually just uploaded this brand deal, I guess, with Gaijin Goomba and Misty Chronexia. And I'm like, that's a combination I never thought to ever see in my life. Interesting. And, you know, she talks about anime enough, so it was a Japanese culture-related thing. So I thought, hey, why not? Let's go check it out. Mike Chen and Claire Feats explore Japanese street food and candy. Like, these are really people I know or care too much about. But I wanted to check it out, and it was good. It had a lot of production value behind it. It was very polished production. I think Raina had a really good rapport with the guests. That it felt very natural. Like she was guiding them through certain points and discussion points, but it really felt like she was experiencing it for the first time with them. She wasn't like try this Pocky. You know what I mean? It didn't feel like she's cloying or forcing this culture onto her guests. Like, this is just an excuse for her to eat Japanese street food and candy. And she's just doing it with someone else. And that's the joy in it for her. And I like that. That joy is really, like, radiant. So I enjoyed this. Yoruu. The Short Life of Golden Boy. Now that I'm looking at it, I don't know why it's called that. Maybe it's because it's 6 episodes. But he just kind of talks about Golden Boy very generally. I'm not including you because you asked. I'm doing it because I saw this video and it looked like a good enough thumbnail and I like people talking about Golden Boy. Not enough people do. And you do make that point that it's like, you know, it doesn't get talked about too much. And some of my like people who are watching, it's like, what are you talking about? Golden Boy is a classic. And it's like, come on, guy. Who the hell actually talks about? Like, we know what Golden Boy is. But how many people actually go into this depth and like really discuss it and talk about it? And what I liked, it didn't come from like a newcomer perspective of like someone who's like, this is about a boy who does the thing and this is wacky, you know what I mean? And trying to like preface it with like introducing it to people who've never heard of it before. I think Yoruu realizes that the people who's watching his stuff know what Golden Boy is. So he was approaching it as someone who's maybe already seen it or just, you know, haven't seen it, but know about it and kind of come in from that as like, and just being able to observe it and not analyze it either. Just talk very generally about why he liked it and stuff he really appreciated out of it. There's some good editing in this. There's like your intro and some of the little effects you're doing here. It's nice. I'm liking it. I like the feel. I like watching your videos a good deal because it's in that category for me of anime YouTubers that... and I've said this before already, if you've heard, you know, but they're coming from a place of like, I'm just talking about my favorite shit. I'm just talking about like the stuff that I like, and I'm not like looking for the best, the biggest point, and convincing people, making this big sweeping claim or anything like that. And it's just communicating their perspective. And like I hope other people resonate with this in the same way, or just like the content I make. And this subsection, man, I wish I was a part of it, because it looks like a lot of fun, and it looks like completely stress-free and free of this drama. Because it's impossible to have, I think it's impossible to have drama from videos like this. And that's not supposed to mean that they're toothless. That's more of a compliment of, like, they just like what they like, and they don't care what people think about it. And it's so unabashed and passionate, and I enjoy it. This is a weekly dose. I always want to have at least one video like this. That's like, this is a guy, like, this was neat. This was a little, like, bite. You know what I mean? And that was what I really like it. So good job, and looking forward to the next one. Don't think maybe I'll include it, but no promises. Don't worry about that. I'm sorry if you got pressured by that. It really is no big deal. But I did do this out of, like, is he gonna make it? Like, I saw your community post, like, new video drop in 20 hours. I was like, all right, let's see it. And I'm like, I'm gonna be totally fair, and I like Golden Boy a lot. I was like, okay. Hey, good job though. Yo, Caffeinated Telescopes, learning to listen for K-On. Sound is narrative. Elijah's back, man. Oh yeah. All right, so I really like this guy. He's been very nice to me on Twitter. What? And he apologized in his description for, like, bad camera, like bad video quality. I don't care, dude. You had my attention, and it was a good angle, and it was, yeah, man, yes. I was so for it, and I really liked you talking about K-On from. It really did come from the, yeah, this is one of my favorite shows, if not my favorite show. But it didn't have that vibe of, I feel like some K-On people might have, if this is a trap they could have, is like, yeah, it's fantastic and you're just wrong. Kind of smug kind of thing. Like, you never have that. I can't imagine, I can't picture you having some sort of pretentious superiority over it sort of deal. But it's like, yeah, I know what I'm talking about. And he dives into the sound design of K-On and how natural the performances seem given the context, because it doesn't sound like a polished studio professional singer anything. It feels very organic and high school level, which some people might be like, that's whatever, they'd be maybe kind of mid on that music, but it's genuinely like, no, that's what's supposed to sound, and it's supposed to invoke that feeling, Just observation, I would imagine that it's so surreal for real musicians who were in these girls' position to watch K-On, where it's like, yeah, it really was like that, where, they love playing their instruments and they love getting better at it, but a lot of it is goofing off and living their lives. And it does kind of evolve past the music, which is what your video sort of, I think, acknowledges too, where it's like, it is important for the music to feel natural and organic and realistic to the scenario. But I mainly am pointing this video out as like, yes, you made a video, hell yeah. As kind of a long hiatus person, I like hearing from Elijah, so this was cool, and I liked it a good deal. Good job. All right, and now for what I thought were the best videos of the week. Ooh, another set of bangers for you. I first pause and select. Oh man, it's Joe. He's back. Oh my god, senpai. Anime's fans, flows, and friction. This is an interview that he has with, I'm blanking on her name, but she wrote a book. And he's doing the thing that he's done for a couple videos, I feel like now. Although his Isekai series was a little different. But this is a typical thing that Joe does, where he takes an academic or a person who is really studying this stuff and is really talking academically and speaking on their book and whatnot, their ideas, and they're communicating what they researched and putting it into like a video form, because these people aren't like video people. So their ideas are just going to kind of either maybe a little bit on Twitter and then that's it, or like their book, if anyone buys it, right? So Joe's really giving them a platform to express their ideas, and also giving them the visuals to back that up and like emphasize their idea. And it's really emblematic of video elevating material, and it's not just audio that you can hear in the background, you know what I mean? And to be honest, I watched this a number of days ago and I could have rewatched it, but I didn't. So it's a little fuzzy for me of what exact kind of points he makes here. But what I do obviously remember it for is being very riveting and on par with Joe's content, really, which is just like super polished, very focused and interesting, as Joe always likes to put it. I'm sorry if my observations are really shallow with this one, which is a disservice to this video, admittedly. But I did really enjoy it, as usual, from a Joe video. And I'm looking forward to more, of course, in the next 5 months. Whenever you make them, man, I love your shit. I do make my stuff looking up to you a lot. Digibro, in old form, I must say. What makes anime adaptations worth watching? Mixed media mistakes in anime. So I thought at first this video was going to be talking about mixed media, like using things other than 2D, basically, like using the integration of CG, integration of other kind of elements like mixed media, that sort of thing. But no, it's actually more about an anime adaptation and what it really takes making one good. And he doesn't talk too much about how much you deviate from the source material and that sort of thing in terms of story stuff or shot wise, really. But he does make the great point of really capitalizing on the medium you're given. You don't just make the manga and make it the anime form. You have to do something with it. You have to make it bigger or even smaller if that's really what it takes. And he's really fair to Vinland Saga in particular. He's like, it's fine. And there's things about it that are, in terms of more meta reasons, where it's like, he doesn't know how many episodes this is going to be and how much Wit Studio with Attack on Titan. It's like, how much are they really going to adapt of this? There's things where it's like, I'm not hating it, basically, is what he's saying. Like, he could have gone way harder on Vinland Saga. I've seen some other people have. But he's pretty fair to it, in all honesty. And it's like, it's kind of a mixed bag. And when it comes to a mixed bag versus like a source material, it's like, probably just gonna go source material. He reminded me of kind of his old self in terms of the way it feels scripted. It didn't seem like an unscripted one this time. There's some that do feel like an unscripted thing, but then there's others that like, okay, he actually kind of has a format and a paragraphs and like writing sort of thing to this. And the editing is all, it doesn't feel like a mix of stuff or anything particularly experimental, but it's very straight-laced. But given his material for the past couple months or almost to a year, where you can expect anything and everything from this guy, this felt kind of classic Digibro. I liked how many examples he was giving in terms, or like citing other sources. Like, I loved his point where he was making about Simone, where he's like, I love Kobayashi's background art. I love the art design in this show. And truthfully, I like the CG mecha and the ship design that is in this show. But together, it's very garish. It's like, this is, it's like, why have both of these in here? You know what I mean? And it's not like the kind of clash that's very intentional. Like, there's some shows that you could probably cite that are like, oh, this garish clash is supposed to be kind of like they're leaning into that sort of thing. But this seems very unintentional, and it's like, and he makes a really good point with that. Yeah, but he's citing all these different stuff, and it really felt like one of his classic videos. And speaking of a classic video, sort of deal, it reminded me of that classic kind of counter-argument that a lot of people I know make about Digibro's content that I was observing, I was thinking about as he was wrapping this video up. I was like, so what did I get out of this? Is there a point to this? Did I take anything really away from it? Because he talks so much and kind of lays out the whole thing, and so it really ultimately feels like there's not an argument that he's making. It's just kind of an observation supported by a lot of other points and previous observations. And some people don't like that, but I particularly really like it because it's kind of similar to how I think. But I just don't make that kind of video. I just wouldn't make this kind of video where it feels like a kind of stream of consciousness, like citing a bunch of different things and pulling stuff into some idea and basically articulating what's going on in his head when he's watching Vinland Saga like this. So, I mean, I find it valuable, and I get why some people may not see it as like an additive, like he's making an addition sort of thing, or like a definitive video on a thing, but it really is a mess of like different perspectives and different points that he's making that is kind of a flurry, I guess, but still in a way that doesn't feel aimless necessarily. He's gotten very good at writing to where he's able to make all these kind of stretched out points while still making it feel like you have a flow to it, and there's a consistency in the message to it. So I enjoyed this video a ton, and I get that it took him a little while to get this one out, because his other content's just so much easier to make, and he has a lot of stuff to make. He's a content machine, of course, but this was great to see from him, and I just wanted to shout it out as something I was like, hell yeah. Next, I'm going to mention the video that it might be the best video of the week, but there was one video I honestly did enjoy a lot more. But this is very good. Clear and Sweet, Kyoto animation of Disappearance, a eulogy. Admittedly, the title is a little awkward, but this is a very, 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 very good video. This channel is the guy who, if you don't know, makes these very long, multi-part video series on various things, and he did a multi-part video on the disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya, the movie. I assume it's his favorite movie. It certainly fucking seems like it, because he just goes in and he knows every frame of this fucking movie, you can fucking tell. And this is exactly the kind of Kyoto Animation post-arson video that I was waiting for someone to make. He does start at the very beginning of the video, like, these are names that were publicly released by the families. The families are okay with me saying this. Not okay with him saying it, but like okay with me citing these names as people who have passed on, and we're going to honor their work very individually. He doesn't do all 16, obviously, that have been named. There's 30 something that have passed away. 16 or 17 of them have gotten their names released, and he goes over 7 of them that worked on this movie, and just one by one, like, this is their name. Some of them have footage that he found, and he was able to kind of give a face to these people and not just a name, which I personally appreciated, because these are people and not just kind of fictional, legendary names or anything like that. These are actual humans. I fucking wish we had this much footage for fucking Osamu Dezaki instead of just like TV interview footage. But yeah, background artists, some animators, some of the chief animation directors, and obviously the overall director, one of the people that passed away on this, who worked on this movie. And yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it. I have not watched The Melancholy yet. Probably should. I should probably expedite that, just to appreciate and honor the work that this studio has made. And it's very solemn. You can tell he's really holding back tears talking about this. It really affected him, and he is really giving due justice to these artists, and like, this is what they did, and not just some amorphous KyoAni is great, here's some of their work, we don't know what they did. The people that actually passed away, right? Like, these characters aren't the ones that passed away. The art is still here, and that's the point he makes at the end. It's like, that's the best part. The art, the feeling is never going to leave. Death does not affect that. This tragedy does not take away anything that this film has. It only takes away the people. As brutal as that is, as unfair as that is, that's the one thing that the fact that we can remember them through this movie. It's kind of dry, admittedly. The guy's very formal, solemn, not trying to inject a sort of like energy or passion or something, but you can tell he's seen this movie hundreds of times, and he's really shook on this, and it's hard for him to make something like this, but he feels like he has to. So that was great. That could have been the best. I think that's technically the best video this week. It's just freaking phenomenal. Just in general, though, unfortunately, I'm sorry, but it's great. There was one video I just did enjoy, just kind of an entertainment. I feel really bad following up this video to the video I want to conclude on. Maybe I shouldn't do that, but I'm going to. Yeah, Anime House 3 by RDC World 1. These guys are big goofballs. And I wanted to end with this video and not the other one, not because it's a better video by any stretch. I think the eulogy is really necessary. And this was just fun. This is just a funny haha. Like, it's literally just a bunch of dudes dressing up in really shitty store-bought cosplay as these shonen characters. It's mostly shonen anime, or just like Yugi, or like Inuyasha, or like Mob, or it's a lot of like the most surface level you could put. There's almost no deep cuts to these characters. It's like, oh shit, they know that. Like Soul Eater, I guess, is the deepest they go. But you can tell all 6 of them have watched these shows and love them. And it's the passion. That's all it comes down to. It doesn't matter how technically proficient or masterful this is. It's something you can tell is made out of like, this is fun. We love making this. We love this stuff. We love anime. And that's all I really want, and that's all it comes down to, and it just warms me up every time. And this is such a joy to watch because it's just so funny. And like, you have a scene with the Kuroko no Basket characters, and it's just their like some other guys that like, I guess they may be like some people they know in like college or something that like don't watch anime, but they had them like wear these wigs, like these anime wigs, and they just play basketball against. They assemble this team of Afro Samurai. That's actually I actually did not recognize them. They had this at the end. They give a little montage of who's who, in case you couldn't tell. You can tell who everyone is for the most part, but that was one character I couldn't tell that was until they sold me. But it was Afro Samurai, Mob, Yugi from Yu-Gi-Oh!, Inuyasha, and who's the last one? Ichigo from Bleach. Just all 5 of these dudes, and they're not like trying to be. They're pretty conventionally like kind of buff, like kind of cool radical dude like dudes. But they're it's just the ridiculousness of it, but it's so infectiously funny. And they talk very the way they would talk, right? And it's that contrast and that juxtaposition of like the cringy weeb shit with like the tough thug, like like really tough, serious, like grounded. It feels very grounded and down to earth, and like feels real. It felt like this was actually happening, even though it's clearly not Spike Spiegel reacting to Light from Death Note killing L. Like, they have that as a subplot, and it's like a subplot throughout the whole series, the whole episode. It's so ridiculous, but it's just so funny. I love it. They even have like fight scenes with the villains, and they have like a team, like this row of like Hisoka, Orochimaru, Pain. Aizen and like just a row of them, right? And it's gosh. And you have like Aizen fighting Sasuke at one point, and Orochimaru turns over to Pain, and he's like he's gonna lose to Aizen, and he uses the Phantom Sword, and Pain's like, "How do you know that?" He's like, "It's because I've read the manga, Pain." Just hear this picturing Orochimaru saying, "I read the manga," is just so but like cringy in like the funny way. It's so ridiculous, but it's completely it's played for totally legit, and like I love it. It was so funny, but it was like really meta too. Like they're playing the characters, but the characters are aware that they're main characters in a show. And so you have like Yusuke's character constantly being like, "My show is from the 90s. I'm the OG. I'm one of the OGs." And he's like shitting on Demon Slayer. He's like, "Oh, he thinks he's tough just because his ass trended on Twitter once." And he's like, "Hey, at least my ass trended on Twitter." It's like shit like that. And it's like, oh man, this is funny as hell. I mean, it's not like the deep cuts, right? It's not. If it was that, I'd probably lose my mind. If they were fucking referencing fucking Urusei Yatsura, or it made like a touch reference, oh my gosh, I would be over the moon, dude. I'd be like, is that fucking Adachi? Ah, like man, it's just fun, and I hate to put it again over the eulogy, but it's so fun, and I love it. These guys are great, and I'm happy they're making like they found something that they have like a. So, because usually they do a lot of like very short shit posts and stuff, and they had this one narrative going a couple years ago where it's like one guy just wasn't an anime fan, but you could tell he was, right? And then and the other guy was like, he's like, "Anime's great," and he's like acting as these shonen characters, and they have like legit fights. It's one of their friends hostage. Those two and what really sold me on their conviction and like, oh, they're not just like Smosh, right? They're not like these guys like College Humor that are trying to like make these like bank on the anime thing, right? Without really, they're not really in it, But what really got me was when the character was like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "It's a transmutation circle, alchemy." And the guy's just like, "Uh-huh." And he runs over and is about to drop kick the guy, like just kick him in the face. And it cuts away and it's Full Metal Alchemist. And does the eye catch. And then it changes to another eye catch, like a different one. He's like, Full Metal Alchemist. I reference that shit to my friends all the time. And I'm like, they know it. They get it. Oh my gosh. They've seen, it's like, it's shit like that. And it's like, oh yeah. I can't believe I went off on Anime House 3 harder than I did, I think, almost any of these other videos that I thought were really good. And they probably had I could have said way more, but I'm sorry. Nah. If it sticks in your brain, it sticks. That's how it be. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this edition of Anitube Digest. It was a really strong week. And I feel like I don't think I did enough justice. So please watch these videos. Go check it out. But I hope you enjoyed it. Yo, peace. Oh, that was wrong. Yo, peace.